Welcome! We're going to be unboxing the Mountain Mega Wyverstone, that's already great. Wyverstone Peak Mountain Mega from Wildlands. Now, to note, just like the Forest Mega, this will not have our light puck in it, but it will have everything else. It's the only thing that it was missing. Love that. Got some cool, just awesome. Now, this one comes with like, I think it's like 4 or 5 of these specifically. It's crazy how many floors actually come with this thing. It's awesome. Yeah, these are the stretch goals. Once we actually get some of the interesting stuff, that's all. So you get some of those out there, some of the little guys. We'll have to see. We'll have to get some pull. Oh, we can actually just slap that thing in there. A little mana stave with this power stuff, and then we got a little Wyverstone. Have to get an escarpment to push that out, but that's our little rope plug. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Amazing.
Nylon rope, that's great. Yeah. A cool part about these two is the little striations got them in there, you know. The cast of the mold and everything really holds up in the Dwarvenite, and the paint is really well done, so like you actually get all of the little gradient in there too. It's nice. Little guy that also sits on the edge of other escarpments or even on the driftstone, which you can have that hang out. And these are the yes, magnetic stilts. These are the things that we created to be used in conjunction with some of those stilts that we made from Caverns Deep. But one of the things that we found with these versus the other stuff was it didn't really need to be sculpted. Most of the time we were putting these stilts underneath floors, or its purpose was to push things up, so less necessary to have these giant things have any sculpted part to them, because more likely they're going to be covered up. So helped us kind of settle it. You don't have to put 5. I just put 5 just because.
For fun.
Yeah, I mean it's got 5 anchor magnets. Why not? So yeah, so that way you can kind of come in here and you can push this up. Got our other smaller floors. We got our 1x and our. Right, put a couple of those out there. Some of the dry brushing is just a little under, but it's okay. Got a couple of these 1x2s. Love the little subtleties in the stone, help you do the natural grid, right? So you can see the 1 and the 1. The same is true in this one. Green can also help separate some of that, but got the 2x2. It's really helpful. Truthfully, for me, like I appreciate the subtleties. Yeah, we got some more of the buttresses. There's more ruins in the mountain, though, than in the forest. So we'll get these going here in a second here. But more important when we get to there. We got the fogger, which I guess I could have prepared or something, put water in it, because that's going to be... Ooh! We got the mountain dye. I don't remember if we had this last time. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we only had the forest one, but this one's got a great horizon design on that blue with the wyvern. It's gorgeous. So, for instance, we have this SFX floor. So what the cool part is that they did, like, our factory did this really cool design after we asked them to figure out how to fit both a light puck and the fogger in this little slot right here. And so that's why it's got the circle cut out as well as the 4x4 square, and it just fits so well. Both accounts comes with batteries, which is nice. So we got, that's the finished. It's got a stopper that's still in here, but it's the finished one. It's got the charging port and the on off. But once you put it in here, they did this really cool cut design here, because sometimes it mattered, but like you can set it in any direction. And then that's what before. Obviously, as you can see, it sits just a little bit above floor height when it's on top of the fogger. So some easy ways to mitigate that would be either put the floors and just kind of make like a rising step towards it. There's also going to be ledges as soon as I can find those. Yeah, so you could do stuff like that too. All right. Create some nice little tapered edges. That's not the cutest, but probably even just like that, and then like that. Gives a nice little gradual build up, some outside edges that aren't as completely flat as like a 2x2 or got this nice, like, love all of that. Did a great job. I mean, Eli sculpted the crap out of this thing, and all parts of the waterfall. All those little water direct, like, I don't know what you would call that, because I'm not as smart. But the water flow, I suppose, like just like the flow of it, and all of the actual like slight dry brushing they did to kind of like pick that up is awesome. Like Erin really, like the fact that she made this scheme and then the factory was able to like accomplish it is just really something else. So more times than not you would do something like that, but you can also do this like a off, just slightly off or whatever, and then at that point you would just put, you know, you could put things like that underneath. There's other ways you can do it, but if you want, this also kind of a part of the stilts is places it higher if you needed it to. Not too many situations where you probably will need the stilts, because you can do a lot with some of the escarpments as well as how these stack with each other. I only have the one in this box, so this is also nice because you can get, you know, if you put this up against it, it goes right against each other, right? So it would start there. But if you are on a floor above or something, you're matching that way. I know it's a little rickety, but
floating waterfall.
Yeah. Yeah, and the best part of that one would be like, you know, you could put this, you know, you'd put this under, and you probably either you would put the 1x3 escarpments right here, or you might have another one of these and it would just slot continuously down. And the nice part about this is like interchangeable between these two really kind of change the depth. And gotta love the little hidden guys.
Yeah.
A little
Let me
fishy.
focus on it.
Love that.
I'll give him a little hand bridge. Fishy. Ooh.
Yeah. I love the other stuff too, like on the top of this, like just, again, like all that flow of pushing against the rock and how it would separate. It's very well done in that regard. And it's got a nice little square rod slot right in there. Kind of has that cut right next to it, so it actually flows really well and easily. Where you can have that sort of like stick out. So here we got, you know what, I'll push it this way instead. We got one of our escarpments there. Let's see if we can find the ledge that goes with it. Right. Now, I know I am not as crafty of a builder as Nate. Nate can usually on stream craft something, so I will do my best to try to eventually start making some sort of thing, but I'm not going to hold myself to it. But also, interesting to note, I think that I'm fairly certain we said this in some form of an update, but we did have to create these little plugs for all of the escarpments and those waterfalls. Anything that has the square rod holes, the side holes, so even the driftstones naturally come with them. We created these little plugs.
Oh.
That's okay. It's only a small, tiny thing to lose forever. It's okay.
Whoopsie.
It's all okay. It just was, yeah, there. So it's this little grass, moss kind of plug. It's really nice little leafy guy. And he goes right in there. So that way, you have a kind of subtle way to disguise some of those things. And luckily, they're not that hard to remove. Kind of the beauty of Dwarvenite on Dwarvenite. When we were doing some of the tests, it's always so much harder because they, it's resin against resin, so they don't always sit nice. Or, it's much more difficult to have them go in cleanly. And then we got the concave, which is a 3-piece sculpt. So you this is a reversible floor. Might take just a little bit of love because the open-ended parts of this are gonna just naturally start to slide in just a little bit. So you might just need to pull it a little. But super cool. And then you take this guy, take this thing, place it right in there.
Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel through the mountain. Every one of these comes with pegs as well. 6 of them for this, 6 of them for the bridge, and then 4 of them for the. It's like an overhang. There's like a little thing. And the purpose of that is because this is a 3-piece sculpt. Each one kind of has dual function. So this guy, this one right here down here, it slots in here, helps disguise it. It's reversible, but it also, I don't have an actual magnetic piece, but it's got a magnet on it. It's got a little, it's got a steel plate, so you can put your magnet items on that. And it also means when you pop it out and you want to set it up against some other part of the wall, like you can set it up against, let me see if I can, I'll just switch that around. You know, if you set it up against these other walls, you can still have the magnet function. For the actual, you can take the floor off. It can be, right? I know that Nate's gotten a couple over this during the campaign, but what's also nice is that because it's square, more perfectly square than the straights, it also becomes a very good cap piece to something like this, or the this is the concave, and then the other convex. This becomes a really good little right angle. And then this one, this floor, works on ground level, works above, however you need it to work. What's nice is then this guy, it's always better to use a tool, then has the paired pegs that you can place on anything that has the paired pegs, and you can do it the other side as well. So it's nice. Kind of just a little pool. It's kind of different things and green, little cuts on it. It's awesome. Second one for waterfall on waterfall. Right. Keeps it in line. You could also do that with the 1x3s. But then it also has, we also have this one. Little hidden cave. What's nice about this one is you set that there. It's got this little spot that goes all the way through. Our factory was very angry about this piece. Funny enough. I wonder why. But they hit it out of the park. They knocked it out. Like, it's got that really, like, you can see, like right now I'm seeing the light pour through this from this angle, and it's really cool. Like, you can get some really, you put something behind here, like underneath the stack of all this stuff, you can have some really cool light pouring out. But it also does come with, no, that was the one I did. Okay, good. There it is. Also comes with this. Creates this little nook. Oops. Either hide that or just give an extra little step up. You could also say, you have to push this or whatever. This is the winding stairs pack. This is the one that we started with one. Then through the campaign, people were talking about how they would really like a continuous winding stair so that they could go both directions, as well as they just wanted something to build on top of itself. And the illustrious Stefan graced us. We had this one originally, just this one, and then Stefan went ahead and quickly made us this one as well. So you've got the two. And so then when you are utilizing them, you can continuously move up whichever order you want. And you can also, change the angle on that. You can put them side by side. If that tickles your fancy.
You want options.
If you want multiple staircases, you've got it. It's not going anywhere, dear reader. Ooh, yeah. So now we've got some of the short and short escarpments, right? So this is kind of what I was talking about in regards to these. This one has kind of the full perfect square, whereas this one has the front kind of front-facing rock pattern, and that's kind of across the board. You'll see that that's pretty much the concave is pretty much the only one that's like full-on square, and that was by design. That was on purpose, so that way you could do a bunch of interesting things like this, right? And then if you needed to have this still playable, you had this to square it off. And then you could also, again, if I put stilts here, or not the 50 mil, if I had the 38, which I believe is over there, 38, you could put that there, and then you could put a floor. I should show that off. If I'm going to say it, I should show it off.
No, keep everyone guessing.
Yeah, so, I'd probably, we can even probably just do a shorter one. Right, so, right, the 38s are perfect for that because the 38 plus the floor goes to this height. While the 50s will go directly to escarpment height and then beyond. And so that's kind of the purpose of the two of them, right, is that brings it all the way up. And then if I were to I could either use one of these, I could use my Aranthor expansion pieces to level out that side, and now it's got a more natural progression upwards. And the benefit of that kind of stuff is that you could technically also, I don't think I have it right here, if you could cut gator foam, or you could put something else that like fits within the blank spots where you don't need the outside edges, and then just start building on that. It just make sure you're either cutting it at 38 or 50, depending on how you want it to ascend. So it's really cool in that way, and that's kind of one of the big things that was happening when we were making Wildlands, was those considerations. A lot of those calculations were going into the mix of like, how do we make it all comparable to each other, and there were some moments that were harder than others, but I'm really proud and happy with where we ended up, because it's a very robust system while utilizing 3-4 piece types. So super cool.
Yeah, I'm actually always using those little guys.
These ones?
Yeah, they're like so tiny but really useful. Same with like the bank pieces. They make everything look so nice, like the little transition pieces.
So we've got the 3 different sizes of driftstone. And I'm super excited to start painting mine. I've got a couple of thoughts in mind. So we've got the small, the medium.
Yeah, you can paint them pink.
Pink is cool. I was thinking like a red, like a maroon or something like that. That's kind of where
bloody
driftstone. And then we've got the large one right here. What's kind of nice is, and this is just them standing up, right? This is just them doing their thing. But if you, I might have to move this now. If you go ahead and push them together, you do kind of get this nice little, and that's again just on the stands, because then that's what these are for. These are all of the actual different lengthed round rods, which go in the bottom. And then we've got different lengths of the square rods go in the sides. And so you could just go ahead and, one thing to note too, we rounded off the squares because in our tests we had them sharp at first, and not only was it hurting our hands, but it was also cutting into the pieces much more than we were, intending. And so it was like, if we could just round them off, that was going to save us a lot of pain. And it would also save the pieces, and that was kind of the main thing we wanted to do there. So now you have kind of a... And you can even like when we were like messing around with it too early on, I was doing stuff like just chaining a bunch of these things together. And what's nice is because the holes are not exactly one to one, right? You don't see a hole here, you don't see a hole here, and then a hole here. Because it has this kind of interesting, you can make it kind of go in a bunch of different directions. And as long as a few of them end up having this mixed in there, it can go for quite a while. I think I chained like 10 or 12 of them together, and it was like, yes, absolutely, I'll buy 5. I'll get as many of these as I can. There's a whole set, a whole dungeon of just driftstones. We should probably show off more of these. These are our mountain trifecta ledges. I'll get some of the other ones out too. So what's nice about that is, right, if you need those to go directly to, you need to go directly to your floor, you can just set that like that, and then it squares right up. Boom. And you can even have this one right there, and then I'll grab the, yeah, there it is. Grab this one, and it will, yeah, kind of the natural flow right into it. Conversely, though, you could not use these, have this set up like that, and have it, you know, touch there, and then have like maybe a terrain tray underneath or something like that, giving hints, or maybe that's where a river or a lava thing happens, and that's how it meets up. But that was kind of the intention, was that, you know, have a way to square up against this, at least either on ground level or as necessary. Because you can also, again, because like I showed off before, like you can also still have it matter up here as well if you needed it to, you know. Not the best example because there's nothing else around it, but, you know. Oopsie. There we go. So, now some of that purpose might just be because you wanted to add a couple more of these in here. You know, you just wanted a little bit more variation on it. So, lots of uses for the ledges, especially utilizing the escarpments. Now these are the mountain ones. The forest trifecta ledges came with the forest mega, but and they get used with the floors and a couple of the other things. But there was a companion pack for the ledges specifically that was giving the forest ones that you didn't get in the same quantities. So kind of the intention was that we wanted to keep it still biome based, but we wanted that option for people because it mattered, you know, like you want the thing, you want all the stuff. Let's see. Driftstones. Ooh, there we go. Yeah. These were the subject of many, many debates in the Kickstarter, which was the the 1x3 and then the actual end caps themselves. Let's take this guy off. Right? So that's what I kind of love about that, is that, like, you know, you can have all of this still really match up really well. And it's as simple as that, that sort of just gives a new feeling, gives a new direction, and it's just that, as easy as that. And I really appreciate it. All the hard work that went into this. I can see that, you know, this might bug a couple people, or it might be a way to, you know, you could slide this in more, have it meet up exactly. It would only go in like one square, and that's kind of what the 1x3 is helpful for. So, you know, if you wanted it to meet up that way, I'm not usually as bothered by some just like straight facing walls in some regard, so. But I would not stop someone from being, not to say upset, but from being particular about how they want something to look.
I'm distraught, I'm gonna cry.
And then I would take, you know, you can also take this thing. One of the end caps, we have one of these. And a bunch of these pieces have that kind of hidden in there. You know, there's a bunch of, well, we're about to bring them out. I was kind of showing off the escarpments more. And so you can have that. It's obviously the longest rod, but you know. Another one of these. It's got a nice sort of flat edge for one side. It's also got that vertical rod on top. Probably has about an upper limit of how much weight it can have, but just because it's a smaller, it's got a smaller surface area, but still a good piece. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, it's one of the forest stumps. So you get a couple of those for the trees that go on the mountain. Got a couple of those. Work better. It's great scatter. I mean, that's why we kind of put it in that war game pledge. So it helps just kind of break up the natural flatness of the mountain floors and stuff like that. But also, so do these, the Wyverstone clusters. Cool part of these as well is that's the teardrop one. Where is the? Oh, it's in here. Isn't it? No. Yes. Neat about this one is you can put that right on top of that. It's got all of the same kind of geometry to help form into each other. Same with that. And then I think this is I think I'm grabbing the wrong driftstone. There it is. So it's got this kind of forming, uniform kind of teardrop-esque shape. And that's kind of where the wyvern's nest sat in the original build, up on one of these little platforms. They're great too. They got the paired peg hole, so you could even utilize that on the side of any of your buildings and chain a couple of those together, or put the bridge here as well, push it off. And the same is true as if you put it up high, you can have those chained together. I'm very excited to see the dangerous builds people are going to do of just I'm stacking this on top of this on top of this and seeing where I can go. And I've been excited for us to get this stuff to do the exact same, because I feel like Toby and Nate are really going to, now that we have Dwarvenite pieces in hand, they're really going to want to push it as far as it can go. And so we then also have this guy, which is very fun. Some fun things about it too is that it is intended to sort of sit up against a lot of the escarpments, right? It's the way it was constructed is so that you can get in stuff like that, where you can get in cuts on pieces like that, have it sit right up against it, and it not only sit well, but look good on top of that and have a function. So, you're supposed to, it's kind of a way to keep stepping up, kind of a variation of stairs or steps, but just kind of a more naturalist way to do that. Similar to the step stump, we got this oblong crag as well, very similarly built to kind of sit in line with escarpments and see if it, helps you create weird little caverns and chasms and things that would end up happening in real life. Get kind of a daring. It also has a nice, it has a flatter end to it than this one. So it kind of, while that would, there's still gaps right there. What I like about it is that, I can still kind of butt up against stuff, and it really helps. It's also got the square rod, and this one's got a bunch of stuff. It's got square rod, it's got paired pegs, twice, vertical rod, other square rod. It's got a tree on it. This thing is loaded. Okay, let's move this stuff back so that we can look at some of these.
It's so pretty.
Yes. Look at that. We got a nice little bunch of them. If I remember correctly, only the buttress and the dais were released in the forest. So that's kind of what we're getting now. Is we're getting the continuation of that series, which is nice. So you would set this up kind of like that, or here, and then I would go right there. Actually, you know what? Let's extend that out there like that. Give it a little bit more breathing room. Push there, and then that even goes right up against it. I'm sorry if this is some of the weight. You know, this, right? This little end cap, we designed it to just go right up against the other one, so it looks like it's the full completion of that, which is just a put together version of the double. And then we've got this one, which is a fully collapsed on the ground ruin. So you put that with, you know, and then you would reasonably end it with this. Or you could also do it the opposite way. Save yourself some hassle. We got one of the pylons, which I know what came out again with the forest, but look at this. Hi. Oh my gosh. 4 different bags to get out one remote. It's fine. We're fine. We're safe. We can strobe.
Oh.
Fade. There we go. Fade just cycles through the colors, but we've got a better remote now. So it goes through a better assortment of colors. So many colors. There. For Nate.
Oh.
In honor of in honor of Mr. Taylor, we celebrate tonight's unboxing with the purple pylon.
Danger spike. Oh.
We got that guy, which fits the Burrows inserts from KS5. And they did a fantastic job. Speaking of which, I will run real quick and grab one of those. So this is what we got. Here's the burrow from KS5 inside of the little burrow hole teardrop insert. Boink.
Whoa.
It fits really smooth. Just very seamless. But this is nice too because you can place this over the ground or terrain trays, that kind of stuff. It also works really well with the hummock from the swamp hummock, the big guy. It's got the paired peg holes, but it's also got a magnet on there, so you can magnet on terrain trays or whatever. But you can also, there's a couple of other places that you might be able to put that.
Fridge.
Yeah. Neat part about this one is like there's going to be some times where it might not like 100, there's that little spot right there, but overall its whole purpose is to add just kind of a nice curve, natural curve, and then it also hangs off the side. And then the same is true of this one, is that, you know, it's got fun capabilities of, you can put this in a lot of different places over the mountains. What am I looking for? Oh, that's what I was looking for. Was the, it's got 2 slots for a square rod hole, and this one is sort of a straight on 90-degree angle from the bridge, whereas this one has like a 45 angle on it, so you can go this way. It's pretty cool. And then we've got our Reality Rupture Seal of Binding, which is going in everything. These were stretch goals. So these were the ones that ended up in all 3 of the megas. They're really cool. You did not get to see this guy. This one. This piece fits directly into the socket, and you pulse with a blue light. Here we go. Obviously, the thing everybody came to see, the wyvern nest.
Woo!
It's got the little eggs. I don't know how you say eggs, but I try to say eggs any chance I get, because I am from Washington, so we say eggs.
I thought that was normal. Eggs?
Yeah.
With an A.
Right, but it's supposed to be eggs, like E-H, eggs. And
vowels, it's just like do it.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm defending myself from no one. But I love the little, I do love that we made them 2 separate things, because it just makes it so much fun. Like, I love the idea of this just being a bigger nest or something, or what else could be in this. I also love the eggs being this golden color. Just kind of this really neat. They did a great job, like it sheens in just the right way.
They look really delicious.
I would eat them. Here we go.
Dun, 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 dun.
Gotta love that sound. Mighty Crimson Claw. I love the eyes. The different, just the apex, the apex row of eyes, right? And they did a great job on the wing gradient too. I'll show that off. Pretty good. Yeah. It's nice. It's you know, Nate was always a little disappointed. He was always like, I love the resin that, like, you know, the tail goes like straight out, and it's like, yeah, one of those things about going Dwarvenite is, you know, things just have more malleability. So, but it looks killer, like, just overall. I love it. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Little fins on the bottom. Mighty Nexus. Yeah. And when we get the light pucks in, we will certainly show that off as well. But here we go. Right. So it's got the plug hole right there, and as you can see, it's got the opening right here for the top as well. So when you're utilizing the light puck, it would be something over on this side, where you would utilize this floor maybe, or the whole knoll, or one of the other covers that you're using, and you would set this on top, and you know, the light puck is going to be all of that area, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But with the fogger, it does depend on where you're putting this, because it has to go directly over top of that, right? But shoot straight out, it's great. We'll have to do a video kind of just like showing off the actual fogger. Or you know what? I might actually have one already full and ready. But doom. And the nice part is too is if you got the filters as well, the filter can still kind of sit even with the fogger in use. You'd probably have just a little bit peeking out, but it can still be a really cool effect if you still needed that in there. But you could also just do a little fabric swatch or something, put it right on that side, and it would look great. Yeah. Getting this top to work was a little bit trickier than we were hoping it was, because there was something about the in cuts of all, like it has to have that hole, it had to have the cracks, it had to have all those things, and it had to fit within that space. So the factory was actually having a couple of issues, so we had to make an extra little cut here or there that sort of like helped when the cooling process was happening for the pieces, helped it stay flat enough that it would actually all fit inside, and it's really cool. It's got a bunch of square rods and paired pegs in here too. It's very cool. And like I said, the fogger and you can switch that to any direction in terms of the 4 cardinal directions. You can turn the fogger with the floor. You take that any of those 4, and this will slide along with it. So if you needed it to shift or whatever, you can. Yeah. We're not done. Oh. My bad. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to show this off directly, because this is the Oracle Pool, which is also super useful. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one off. Now, you can utilize this pool anywhere. This thing kind of goes wherever you want it to, but when used with the SFX floor, you can put the light puck down in here, and then the light puck will go about halfway up in here, and then when you end up using either one of these, the Codex Vault or the Swirling Vortex, whenever you place that inset, it'll go just a little bit inset. And that's kind of the nice part, is like if you don't want it directly at the top, because that's kind of how it's going to be with the light puck inside this thing, is that it will push just a little too hard. Light puck is going to make it, when you just use it like normal, like this, light puck's going to go right up to the top. So if you put it in here as well, it makes this sit just a bit higher, so you can change the kind of positioning of this. So it doesn't have to be right at the top if you don't want it to be. But you'll find that it is friction fit, and we did that on purpose. We wanted it to be able to, if you didn't have the light puck, you should still be able to have it rest higher or lower, wherever you want. And I know some of this is going to be me kind of repeating things that we've said in other videos, but boom! And there you got the vault. Now, you could also line those up to the crosses if you wanted it to be kind of like a very specific kind of look. And the nice part is with the light puck designs that we're doing, there's going to be a lot of play with this clear, all these little, we've got some things in the works of buttons and the like, and then the same thing here. All this, swirling kind of energy. Anyway. You got pole accessories on the sides. Each of those corners has one. I guess you can't call spots on a circle. You can't really necessarily call them corners, but you know, that's...
You can try.
Yeah, I definitely called them corners, so it's on record. But that is the last of all the stuff, really. Like, outside of this, it's just about building stuff and putting these things in line, checking out, again, you know, these escarpments are specific heights that match up with each other, but then you utilize Aranthor expansion, ledges, and cliffs, and those end up helping you make the difference when you utilize this next to a floor. You can put, when you use this next to a floor, when you use an escarpment next to a floor, if you put it up against another escarpment that's on top of a floor, right? Push that there, they're the same height now. Or use a cliff to get up to escarpment height from a floor. Plenty of ways to make sure that your verticality is taken care of, as well as flat plains, canyons have enough depth. Anyway, thank you so much for everything, and we'll see you next time for Swamp Mega!
Yay, swamp!